Have you ever felt like you're constantly running, just trying to keep up with a world that changes faster than you can blink? New trends, new technologies, new pressures. It can be exhausting, right? It feels like we're always reacting, always one step behind. But what if I told you there's an ancient secret, a powerful mindset that can bring a sense of calm and control to all this chaos? The ancients taught us a profound lesson: use the unchanging to respond to the ever-changing. So, what does that actually mean? It sounds a bit like a riddle, but it's one of the most practical pieces of advice you'll ever hear. It means that instead of chasing every new thing and reacting to every little shift, we should anchor ourselves in timeless principles, the things that don't change. Think of it like a giant, ancient tree. Storms come and go. Seasons change. The world around it transforms. But the tree stands firm because its roots are deep and strong. Those roots are its unchanging core. We need to find our own roots. Let's get practical. What are these unchanging things we can rely on? First and foremost, our values. What truly matters to you, deep down? Is it honesty, compassion, integrity, kindness? These are your personal North Star. When you're faced with a tricky decision at work or in a relationship, instead of getting lost in the what-ifs and the external pressures, you can simply ask yourself, what would the most honest or compassionate version of myself do right now? By grounding your actions in your core values, you create a consistent, authentic path through any situation, no matter how new or confusing it is. Your decisions become simpler and more powerful because they come from a place of deep personal truth, not fleeting trends. Another unchanging anchor is fundamental principles. Think about the laws of nature or basic human psychology. For example, the principle of cause and effect. Your actions today will create your reality tomorrow. This is a universal truth. It doesn't matter what new app is trending or what the latest political drama is. The seeds you plant today will grow into the garden you live in later. So, instead of worrying about things you can't control, focus on planting good seeds. Be diligent in your work, be kind to people, take care of your health. These simple, consistent actions, based on the unchanging principle of cause and effect, will build a future that is strong and resilient, regardless of the external chaos. Think about learning. It's impossible to learn every new skill or piece of software that comes out. You'd be overwhelmed in a week. But what if you focused on the unchanging principle of how to learn? If you develop a love for curiosity, critical thinking, and adaptability, you have the master key that unlocks any new skill you need. You're not just learning one thing, you're learning the timeless art of learning itself. This is using the unchanging your ability to learn to respond to the ever-changing demands of the job market or your hobbies. You become a master of adaptation, not a victim of change. This mindset also transforms how we see challenges. When something unexpected happens, a project fails, a plan gets derailed, it's easy to panic. But if you're anchored in the unchanging, you see it differently. You can lean on the principle that challenges are opportunities for growth. This isn't just a nice quote, it's a fundamental truth of the human experience. Every successful person has a story of failure they learned from. So, when faced with a setback, instead of thinking everything is ruined, you can ask, what is the unchanging lesson here? What can I learn that will make me stronger for whatever comes next? This turns moments of crisis into moments of construction. Let's apply this to our relationships. Social dynamics can feel incredibly complicated. Right, people are unpredictable, but human nature has some unchanging truths. People want to feel seen, heard, and appreciated. This is a timeless need. So, instead of trying to figure out the perfect thing to say or do in every social situation, you can anchor yourself in the unchanging principle of genuine empathy. Listen more than you speak. Try to understand someone's perspective before you judge. Offer a kind word. These simple acts, rooted in the unchanging need for human connection, will build stronger, more meaningful relationships than any clever social strategy ever could. You're not playing a game, you're connecting on a fundamental, human level. So, how do we start cultivating this mindset? It begins with a little bit of quiet reflection. Take some time to actually identify your unchanging principles. What are your top 3 non-negotiable values? Write them down. What are some universal truths you believe in? Maybe it's consistency beats intensity, or treat others as you want to be treated. Make these your personal constitution, your guide. When you feel overwhelmed by the pace of life, pause, take a breath, and instead of looking outward at the chaos, look inward to your unchanging core. Ask yourself, what principle applies here? What value should guide my next step? This simple act of pausing and consulting your inner compass is incredibly powerful. It shifts you from being a leaf blown about by the wind to being that strong, rooted tree we talked about earlier. You're no longer just reacting, you're responding with intention and wisdom. This isn't about ignoring the world or resisting change. Far from it. It's about engaging with the world from a position of strength and stability. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you can adapt, innovate, and embrace change without losing yourself in the process. You can dance with the ever-changing world because your feet are firmly planted on unchanging ground. You can navigate the most complex challenges with a sense of clarity and purpose because you're guided by a simple, powerful, internal map. The world will never stop changing, and that's actually a beautiful thing. It brings new opportunities, new experiences, and new growth. The secret is not to fear the change, but to find what is true and constant within yourself. That is your anchor in any storm. That is how you use the unchanging to respond to the ever-changing. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this idea resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What are some of your unchanging principles? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content on living with intention and wisdom. See you in the next one.